Sounds of the Week on iRadio.
South Sudan is totally a mess because of the politics. So I'm urging the security sector that we cannot be led by political elite who doesn't have mission and vision where to take the country. So this political elite have totally blacklisted our country. So I'm calling upon them to abstain supporting politicians and try to abstain following politicians. Because sometimes these politicians, they are the ones fighting and they use you, the security, to fight. You kill yourself, you are dying, and your children and men struggling, and you're fighting for somebody who's greedy, who is not even have a home in South Sudan. Somebody who has a family abroad, but is still is appointed a minister. When you're in the government, you're a minister, you're in parliament, you want to cause another war. What do you want? So we are calling this time our security sector, please don't let country back to war. You do whatever you can do to prevent war.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio. Your eye on South Sudan. Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, this is iRadio 1 o'clock news. First, here are the headlines. The Peace Monitoring Mechanism, RGMEC, has officially accepted the replacement of Stephen Parkol and Gatwich Lam with Honorable Martin Abuja Gama and Yolanda Aweldeng as the new SPLMIO representatives. A visiting European Union delegation has emphasized that dialogue remains the only viable solution to South Sudan's ongoing political and security situation in the country. And authorities in the Greater Pibor administrative area has described as false the SSPDF's statement that heavily armed youth mobilization towards Jungle Estate. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Baria Johnson, and now the news in detail. The Peace Monitoring Mechanism, RGMEC, has officially accepted the replacement of Stephen Parkol and Gatwich Lam with Honorable Martin Abuja Gama and Yolanda Aweldeng as the new SPLM-IO representatives. The appointments were made by the SPLM-IO's Deputy Chairman, Oyet Nathaniel, who is currently in exile. This comes in the wake of an internal split within the SPLM-IO after a breakaway of SPLM-IO faction led by the Minister of Peace Building, Parkol, and declared him as the interim chairman in Juba until first Vice President Dr. Riek Machar is released from house arrest. Oyet condemned the appointment of the interim leadership of the party in Juba and called on guarantors and observers of the 2018 revitalized peace agreement to safeguard the pact from abrogation. In a letter addressed to RGMEC on April 7th, Oyet stated that Stephen Parr was suspended by the party and should no longer represent the SPLMIO in any official capacity in the mechanism. Meanwhile, Oyet clarified that the replacement of Gatwich Lam is because he is being illegally detained by the National Security Service and is therefore unable to discharge his duty in the body. The interim chairperson of RGMEC, Ambassador George Agri, confirmed the receipt and acknowledgement of the appointments in a letter addressed to Oyet. He said, and I quote, "The reconstituted Joint Monitoring and Evaluation Commission present its compliments to Your Excellency and acknowledge receipt and takes note of your letter reference SPLM SPLIO dated 7th April 2025 appointing Honorable Martin Abuja Gama and Mrs. Yolanda Aweldeng as the new members of the SPLMIO to RGMEC, replacing Ambassador Stephen Parkol and Honorable Gatwich Lam respectively." End quote. RGMEC is the oversight body tasked with monitoring and evaluating the implementation of the revitalized peace agreement in South Sudan. It plays a crucial role in ensuring that all parties comply with the peace deal and in reporting both progress and challenges throughout the transitional period. The RGMEC recently postponed its 40th plenary meeting scheduled for 10th April 2025 due to what it described as unforeseen circumstances raising concerns among key stakeholders. Following the postponement, several diplomatic missions in Juba called on the mechanism to urgently convene the meeting to address growing political tensions and delays in the peace implementation process. A visiting European Union delegation has emphasized that dialogue remains the only viable solution to South Sudan's ongoing political and security situation in the country. On Thursday, Dr. Anita Weber, the EU Special Representative for the Horn of Africa, met with Vice President and Chairperson of the Economic Cluster, Dr. Benjamin Bolmel, in Juba. Dr. Weber said her visit to Juba is part of the EU's initiative to better understand local dynamics by engaging directly with national stakeholders. She further emphasized the importance of regional collaboration, noting that the EU backs the regional approach to peace in South Sudan. Dr. Anita Weber spoke on State TV SSBC yesterday after the meeting.
We came here to convey our messages for the hope for the peace agreement to hold, for the hope for the peace to prevail, but of course also our message of grave concern that conflict is not spreading. We would like the people of South Sudan not just to live in peace, but also to find the prosperity that they were aiming for, that they were aspiring for. We had a very good conversation, understanding aspects of the situation on the ground. We are hoping, of course, for transparency in these processes. We hope for the region to also play a role, because as the European Union, we in support of a regional approach. I've been talking to regional neighbors in Uganda and Kenya, and I will go forward to Ethiopia, to Addis, because we do feel what happens in South Sudan is also a question for the region, and the region can play a positive role, because we also feel only dialogue can solve the current situation long term. We want to see long term, we want to see prosperity, and we want to see the implementation of the peace agreement, and we are ready to support this.
In response, Vice President Dr. Benjamin Bolmel reportedly reaffirmed the government's commitment to peace, stability, and cooperation with international partners. He assured the EU's delegation of South Sudan's dedication to addressing the country's political issues and pledged to continue close collaboration with the EU. The meeting between the EU and South Sudan leadership come amid ongoing efforts to ensure the full implementation of the peace agreement ahead of the 2026 general elections. Authorities in the Greater Pibor administrative area has described as false the SSPDF's statement that heavily armed youth mobilization towards Jonglei State. In a statement dated April 10th, Army spokesperson Major General Lulrai said the SSPDF aerial surveillance unit has observed and detected large columns of heavily armed youth from Greater Pibor moving towards Jonglei. According to General Lul, intelligence gathered indicated southern and eastern parts of Jonglei could be targeted by armed youth. General Lul warned that failure to comply, the SSPDF shall deploy all capabilities at its disposal to preempt and avert planned large-scale offensive attacks. When contacted, Information Minister for Greater Pibor, Nyinga Okano, dismissed the SSPDF's claims as false and baseless. He criticized SSPDF spokesperson Major General Lulrai for what he described as unverified and alarming claim that could cause panic and fear among the communities. The Information Minister added that the situation in Pibor remains calm except for the ongoing cholera outbreak affecting the area. Speaking to iRadio this morning, he rejected the Army's claim that youth are being mobilized for an attack, questioning whom they will even be targeting.
In fact, I've just got this warning letter in which it become a great shocking to government of GCA as well the community, because we looked at what the spokesperson for SSPDF did is not really that in something that has happened in GCA here. The news has already circulated in the media where it can give really the panic to the population. So it is not true, and I would like to really condemn in possible terms That what the spokesperson wrote, it is out of the law, and there was no evidence being provided regarding this thing. We are really came in the GPA here so far, despite the issue of cholera that has been threatening the life of community in GPA here. But out of this, where we are mobilizing the youth to go and attack, whom are we going to attack as our youth? So this thing is not there completely.
You are listening to iRadio Afternoon News. Gogrial, East and West counties of Warab State in the last 3 days have reported a surge in cholera spread as cases have reached 1,185 with 30 deaths and at least 237 admitted in different local health facilities. On Friday, the Minister of Health in Warab State said the cumulative cholera cases have increased to 1,185, including 30 deaths with 237 admitted, compared to the Tuesday report when the total cases were 946 with 29 deaths and 187 admitted. James Madell says despite the availability of cholera vaccines in the area, cases continue to rise on each day. He attributed this to inadequate clean drinking water as locals depend on stream and river waters. According to him, most of the cases are being reported from Gogrial West, where the population depends entirely on river waters. He said the area alone recorded cases of 1,124 with 191 admitted, while 933 have recovered. Meanwhile, Gogrial East County, which is yet to receive cholera oral vaccines, has reported 61 total cases with 6 related fatalities and 46 being treated at different local health centers, while 15 have been discharged.
Yeah, the total number of cases as for today is 1,124 cases suspected. Yeah, that is the cumulative. So up to today, the total number of deaths is 30. Currently, the active case currently in the health facilities is 191. Recovery is 933. That is the data for Gogrial West. For Gogrial East, cases of cholera, we have the total number of cases is 61. The total number of deaths is 6. The current active case being treated in Baria LS facilities in Gogrial East is 46. Then the discharge is 15.
And finally, the National Ministry of Information has approved a comprehensive information and communication strategy aimed at guiding public messaging and civic engagement ahead of South Sudan's 2026 general elections. The strategy was endorsed during the ministry's 10th leadership meeting, chaired by Information Minister Michael McQuay yesterday. Speaking to the media following the meeting, and the Secretary Yath Awan Yath announced that the document was developed over the past month. Awan says the document is now awaiting validation before being submitted to the Council of Ministers for formal endorsement and funding. He says the strategy outlines how the ministry intends to manage media and communication activities leading up to the elections to ensure a smooth and credible process. In a related development, the Undersecretary revealed that the ministry is putting final touches on its first ever official website. He added that once launched, the information portal will enhance the ministry's ability to disseminate policies and foster civic engagement.
The presentation of the media communication strategies for general election. This document has been in the development during the last month, and we just finalized it. It has been approved, and it's going to look into how we will deal with the issues that are going to lead us to a smooth, credible election. What remains is the validation. Once it's valid, we hope that the Honorable Minister is going to present it to the Council of Ministers for approval and funding.
You are listening to iRadio News, and now to the regional and international news with my colleague Walma Pal.
Good afternoon, Baria Johnson, taking you through regional and international stories. Let's begin in Rwanda. where Congolese officials and negotiators for the Rwandan-backed M23 rebels have arrived in Doha for talks to hammer out a ceasefire and 8 months of fighting that have raised fears of a wider regional conflict. M23's rapid advance this year has left thousands of civilians dead, displaced hundreds of thousands more, and given the rebels control over much of Democratic Republic of Congo's eastern borderlands. Members of both delegations confirmed their presence in the Qatari capital and said there was a face-to-face meeting on Wednesday, but they were still discussing the framework for talks. Elsewhere, China raises import taxes on U.S. goods to 125% as the trade war with the U.S. over Donald Trump's global tariff escalates. Beijing faces a 145% levy on some of its goods imported to the U.S. It is how the tit-for-tat trade war has unfolded. President Xi Jinping calls on the EU to join China in opposing bullying from the U.S., saying there are no winners in a tariff war. And finally, 6 people, including 3 children, were killed after a helicopter carrying a family of tourists crashed into the Hudson River in New York City, authorities have said. The family of 5 was from Spain and the 6th person was the pilot, New York City Mayor Eric Adams told reporters on Thursday. All were on board in the helicopter after the time of the crash, which is under investigation. That's all from the regional international stories with me, Wal Mapal, and back to you, Baria Johnson.
Thank you all, and now to the sports news with Nyadong William.
Holy Family FC secured a 2-1 victory over Malakia FC in the 16th round of the South Sudan Premier League at Juba National Stadium, moving up to 3rd place on the league table with 35 points. Malakia remains in 5th place with 27 points following the defeat. Meanwhile, all eyes are on today's clash as Qatar FC aims to solidify its top spot in the 17th round against Lion Hunter. Qatar currently leads the league with 39 points, while Lion Hunter sits in 11th place with just 11 points. In UEFA Europa League quarterfinals, goalkeeper Onana was at fault for 2 goals as a last gasp Lyon equalizer put Manchester United's Europa League quarterfinal tie in the balance at the halfway stage. United went behind after 25 minutes when under pressure. Onana failed to get a strong enough hand to Thiago Almada's wide free kick. While in another match, Ange Postecoglou says the football gods have deserted his Tottenham side after they were foiled by a goalkeeper masterclass from Eintracht Frankfurt's Kawa Santos. Will Norwegian champions Bodo Glimt stun Italian side Lazio with a deserved win in the first leg of the Europa League quarterfinal. And finally, an official proposed to expand the men's 2030 World Cup to 64 teams has been put forward by South America's governing body CONMEBOL. The tournament will be hosted by Spain, Morocco, and Portugal after the opening matches are held in Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay. The 2026 World Cup will be the first with 48 teams, but CONMEBOL wants to expand further for 2030 to mark the competition's 100-year anniversary. The idea was first spontaneously raised at the FIFA Council meeting in March by Uruguayan Football Federation President Ignacio Alonso. That's all in the world of sport, and now back to you, Baria Johnson.
This is iRadio News, and to end this bulletin, here are the headlines once again. The Peace Monitoring Mechanism, RJMEC, has officially accepted the replacement of Stephen Parkol and Gatwich Lam with Honorable Martin Abuja Gama and Yolanda Aweldeng as the new SPLM-IO representatives. A visiting European Union delegation has emphasized that dialogue remains the only viable solution to South Sudan's ongoing political and security situation in the country. And authorities in Greater Pibor administrative area has described as false the SSPDF's statement that heavily armed youth mobilization towards Jungle Estate. That's the end of iRadio Afternoon News. If there is a story or an event you would like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 2878 70. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page, iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 1:30 the hour. I am Baria Johnson. Thanks for listening.